Very good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Amit Gautam. I'm working as an assistant professor at Max School of IT, Max University of Raipur. Today's topic of my discussion is multi-threading in Java, wherein I would be covering the definitions of both multitasking and multi-threading, the, the difference between multi-threading and multitasking, the heavyweight versus lightweight process, the advantages and disadvantages, creating a thread's life cycle, its synchronization model, and the conclusion. So, before starting with the actual topic of multi-threading, let us first understand what multitasking is. As its definition says, multi means many, tasks means operations. So the ability of a computer to execute more than one processes, separate processes. For example, when we are executing more than one process at one instance of time, so they can get the optimum utilizations of the processing resources and processing resources like CPU, memory. So this particular approach of execution is known as a multitasking. Whereas the concept of multi-threading has been taken from the multitasking, wherein we subdivide the specific operations within a single application into individual threads. Each of threads run in parallel. Operating system, for each and every process, operating system assigns a time slice to execute. Likewise, when there are multiple threads executing under one process, operating system also assigns them the time slice so that they can execute in a particular period of time. So a multi-thread program contains two or more paths or the parts that can run concurrently, and each part can handle different tasks at the same time. What does it do is, it gives me the optimum utilization of the available resources, specifically when we want to perform various operations, various tasks of one particular application, and I want them to get executed in a concurrent fashion. Okay, the difference between process-based multitasking and thread-based multitasking is process-based multitasking is an ability of an operating system to execute more than one process at one instance of time. Whereas the thread-based multitasking is an approach wherein multiple portions, means multiple threads under a single process is getting executed. In a context of process-based multitasking, process is considered to be the smallest unit of execution. In a context of thread-based, thread is considered to be the smallest portion of execution. Program is a bigger unit. Thread is, of course, a very small unit. Process-based multitasking requires more address spaces. It requires more address spaces. Each and every process has got a separate address spaces which is allocated by the operating system. That is why it has got more, it has to do a lot with the overhead. Where in a context of thread-based multitasking, that process is very easy and less resource consuming. Process-to-process communication is expensive. That is what we call it as technically a context switching process, because whenever a process communicates with another process in an application, these two processes are basically two different address spaces inside the memory. So communication from one address space to another address space takes a lot of time. When we talk about thread-based multitasking, the communication between the threads are happening into the single address space because they are running under the single hood. So that is what is the core difference that comes between them. Heavyweight versus lightweight, as we have already seen the definition, it can be very easily understood why process-based multitasking is heavyweight and why thread-based multitasking is treated as a lightweight. When we are talking about process-based multitasking, the basic definition says that it is an ability of a computation wherein multiple processes are running at one instance of time concurrently, simultaneously. Now, the idea is okay, all these processes are basically running because they wanted to have the optimum utilizes of the processing resources like CPUs. But when multiple processes have been initiated, each and every processes has been given the different address spaces into the memory. And whenever the context switching happens, as I said, that context switching takes a lot of internal efforts. It eats a lot of resources to make it done. It never happens in a context of thread-based multitasking. Even if the context switching is happening, it is happening between the two different locations of the same address space. So two different threads are probably communicating for the sake of certain resource sharing, and that communication is taken place into the same address space. So the overhead is very less, and that automatically boosts the performance of the application. Inter-process communication, context switching is expensive and limited, wherein inter-thread communication inexpensive, and context switching from one thread to the next is lower in cost because it's quite logical, as you can see by its definition. Advantages are like whenever threads are executing, there might be a cache misses. If the cache misses are happening, other threads which are actually on the queue, those threads can take the advantage of those computing resources, which may lead to a faster overall execution, as these resources would have been ideal if any single thread were executed also. If a thread cannot use all the computing resources of the CPU, and running another thread may prevent those resources from becoming ideal. So that's how, that is what is the benefit that we get, that any resources which are set ideal for any period of time, it can be very optimally used by the thread, or if the thread has left that resource, the threads which are on the queue may take over and they may consume that resources for the faster execution. Multiple threads can interfere with each other when sharing hardware resources such as caches of translations, look-aside buffers. As a result, execution times of a single thread are not improved but can be degraded. Even when only one thread is executing due to lower frequencies of additional pipeline stages that are necessary to accomplish thread switching hardware. The disadvantages means we can understand it like that, since multiple threads are running at the same instance of time, and if those threads are not properly managed, if those threads are not properly managed, then there might be the resource clashing between these two threads. More than one thread might struggle for the same resource at one instance of time, and that might lead a very serious problems, and also the problems like deadlock. What are the application areas of multi-threading? It is very important to know what are the application areas. Means if we are going to develop an application, you must have a clear idea about what applications require the multi-thread as a fundamental. To keep a process responsive, to keep a processor busy, keep multiple processors busy, simplify coding of cooperative tasks. For example, if you talk about an application with a GUI, when we are developing a GUI application, thread dedicated to the GUI can delegate the processing of user requests to other threads. Network-based applications are ideally suited to multi-threading. Data can arrive from the network at any instance of time. In a single thread system, data is queued until the thread can read that data. In a multi-thread system, a thread can be dedicated to listening for data on the network port. So when the data arrives, the thread reads it immediately and processes it or delegates its processing to another thread. So what is a definition of a thread? Whenever any process is started, the process cannot be started unless and until it has got the CPU time. So ideally, the definition can be started like threads and process. We can imagine of a thread only and only when there is a process. We have got an application. When we start that application, it has to get the CPU time. So the process that is consuming the CPU time at one instance, any application which has initiated cannot be coming into the execution state unless until it has got the CPU time. So likewise, when we are saying about thread is actually originated from the process. If there is no process, then there is no thread. So we have got an application. That application is started. When that application gets started, it comes into the execution phase when it has got the CPU time, and that instance of time when the CPU is actually consuming, CPU time has been given to a particular process, we call it as a thread. So thread is a subdivision that shares the memory and space of its parent and is a separate part of execution. So the origin of a thread is entirely depending upon the process for which it is actually created. Now, likewise, thread is a standard and a very lightweight phenomena, which is basically a backbone for any application, any process that is executing under the on the machine. So, according to Sun, there are 4 states in life cycle of a thread. It does not consider that the running state is even exists. So with this diagram, as you can see the different states of the thread life cycle is represented with the help of this diagram, and we have got these 5 phases of a thread life cycle where it depicts that thread is going through 5 stages of its life cycle. The first state, the initial state, is known as a newborn state. A newborn thread begins its life cycle the moment the first instance of a thread class is created. In order to create a thread in a program, we have got a standard API called as a thread. That API thread class is basically used to create a thread. So if you want to create a thread, if you want to have a thread in a new state, the very first thing that you need to do is you got to create a class that is extending a thread class, and then the moment you create its object, the fresh object of a thread is created, then it is known as a new state of a thread. After a newly born thread is started, the thread becomes runnable. Runnable is the state when it has got the CPU time and it has started executing. Newborn threads come into this state only and only when one method of the runnable interface is successfully called upon it, and it is made possible when the start method of a thread class is called upon it. So what I mean to say is that when we call, like we have created the object of a thread class here, we need to make a call to a start method, and the start method in turn makes a call to what we call as a run method, and that run method causes the thread to actually execute finally. Waiting state is a state wherein in a multi-threaded environment, there might happen that there is one thread that is consuming some resources, and unless and until that resource is consumed or freed, unless and until that resource is freed by that consuming thread, all other threads has to wait at outside. So this particular state, when there are multiple threads are executing and one thread is waiting for another thread, this is known as a waiting state. Time waiting state is one thread is waiting for some other thread for a certain period of time. That can be met by calling a methods like thread.sleep method. We have got a wait method, wait all methods. These methods are the methods when we specify a time slice for that particular time period. The threads makes the things for waiting, and the moment that time slice gets over, then the thread comes into the second thread takes over and comes into the processing. Terminated or dead state is when a runnable thread enters to the terminated state when it completes its task. What I mean to say is that the moment a thread comes out of the run method, it goes into the dead state. That's all. What is the discussion?